guys, so back with another video, same day. Back with another video. So I just wanted to come in and talk about something. So have you ever been talking to someone and say they're going through a situation or whatever, and you hear their response and it sounds like something, they're gonna make a rational or just irrational, just gonna make an irrational choice, not a smart choice. And through listening to them, you actually find yourself in that, and you realize the irrational choices that you've made, and now you're like, okay, now I see why I got certain responses from people. Now, I'm not saying this to bash anyone. I'm just saying for myself, because to me it was like an aha moment for me, because with some of the things that I've been through have been caused just by my irrational choices, not thinking smart, not thinking clearly, reacting off of emotions, or making a temporary decision and not realizing the consequences that they'll have, and things like, when it comes to finances, just not making a wise decision. A lot of the times I found myself, when I have gotten in, serious situations, or in a situation where I need to make a rational decision, instead of actually sitting down, taking a moment to remove the emotion from the situation and actually sitting down, and maybe not necessarily writing down the pros and cons, but maybe that'll help, but actually just thinking of the pros and cons in my head, thinking, okay, how is this decision going to affect me tomorrow, next week, next month? Thinking like that, making a wise decision. And a lot of the times I usually will hastily make a decision based off of how it's going to affect me today and not later on. And I find myself doing that a lot of the times. And then when I would get responses, from my family or my friends, I find myself getting all offended, because they're trying to tell me, maybe look at it a different way, but you so set, and usually find myself getting offended, like, just not wanting to receive that advice. And throughout just having a conversation and listening to someone, listening to the choices that they're going to make, the reason why they're making those choices, that was like a mirror put in my face. Like, now I can see, because it's one thing when somebody tells you, hey, you're doing this, you're doing that, you're doing that. If you don't take that in, and I'm not talking about, bad advice or anything like that, but if you don't take that in and do like a self-evaluation, you'll never see, you'll never see that. You'll always think you're right and all of that. So it was like, while I was talking or listening, it was like a mirror was put up in front of my face, and I could see me and the irrational decisions that I've made, the irresponsible decisions that I've made. And it's just like, oh wow, I see it for myself, and I'm not gonna lie, it made me feel some type of way. Of course, when truth comes, usually the truth stings a little bit, deep down you probably know it, but when the truth actually comes and you're faced with it and nobody told you, you see it for yourself, it kind of stings a little bit. Like, oh, now I see why people was looking at me the way they was looking at me, or now I see why I got the responses that I've gotten, because there just were not rational decisions. They weren't decisions that were going to help me, but later on hinder me, And so just having that aha moment, I'm just like, you know what, Lord, I got to do better. That's just the bottom line. I have got to do better when it comes to decision making. And it was just, I don't know, just an eye opener. So I just wanted to share that. So from going forward, you know, my pastor always used to say, you need to consult God, consult God. And I'm just like, well, all right, you know, I hear you and all, but, you know, that type attitude. But, you know, now that I'm getting older, my son is getting older, I want things out of life. I really do. I don't want to be living paycheck to paycheck. I don't want to be robbing Peter to pay Paul. I don't want to always be like, well, I can't do this week, or I could, you know what I'm saying? I don't want to be living like that. I don't want my excuse for why I can't do anything to be because I haven't made rational decisions with my money. And like I said in my previous video, there was one time when I was booming. I'm talking about just booming. There's been a couple of times where I was booming, had money stacked up, wasn't worried about anything. I had paid off some debts. I had increased my credit score. At least by 40 points, just paying off some debts, paying my bills on time, and things were going great. But irrational decisions. Started applying for credit cards left and right. Got myself back into worse debt than I was in the beginning. Now, I ain't no $20,000-$30,000 in debt or anything like that. But I have some debts that I need to pay off. And these debts could have been avoided just by making a rational choice, by sitting down thinking, how is this going to affect me in the long term? I used to never think about long term, just right now. How is it going to affect me right now? This is what I need right now. Just never really focusing on that, just making choices. And, you know, with that mirror put up in my face, that just was like a major eye opener. So that is my cry out to God. You know, Lord, help me to make rational decisions. Help me to make wise decisions. Help me to sit down, remove all emotions from the situation, and focus purely on the facts. What are the benefits? How is this going to affect me today, tomorrow, next week? How is this going to affect my son? How is this going to affect my living situation? You know, how is this going to better me, or is this going to hinder me? So that's my prayer, that from now on, each decision that I make, whether it may seem small or huge, but really sitting down and thinking, how is this going to affect me? And so that's my prayer going forward, because I look back over so many decisions. And yeah, I'm not saying that every decision, you know, even if you consult God, it may turn out totally different than how you expect. But I realized the mistakes that I've made. Looking back, just small things that turned into huge things had I took the time to actually sit down and weigh out the options. So, and I know I'm not the only one who's done that or who's doing that. So it's not only my prayer for myself, but just for people in general, not just women, you know, children, or, you know, just for everybody, that we actually sit down and take the time to weigh out the options, you know, to list the benefits and the cons before you actually make a decision. Because making temporary decisions for a lifelong, you know, for a lifelong journey, you really need to sit down, because there are a lot of things in life that we can avoid by actually taking the time to sit down and make a rational decision. I'm not saying run to 50 friends and get their advice. That's definitely not what I'm saying, because that can lead you in a world of trouble also. But take time. Take time. Don't make a decision within that same day. Take some time and actually really weigh it out. Consult with God. Even if you don't have a relationship, consult with someone who's been there and you can see that they've been successful. You know, consult with someone who's already been there, who's already done it. Consult with someone who's going in that same path or has been down that same road. But ultimately, you need to consult with someone, or you need to consult with God when it comes to making lifelong decisions, because a lot of the times they will come back and haunt you. So I'm not saying that to scare anyone, but it's just a reality of the fact. We need to take time and really focus and really, really think of the outcomes that is going to come by me making this irrational choice right now. And a lot of times we can't see how it's going to affect us 5 years from now. But if you sit down and do the math, and especially if you can look back over your life, look back over the past 6 months, past year, past 2 years, and look at the decisions that you've made, and then look at the outcomes of those decisions. And it doesn't even have to be something 5-10 years ago. Take the last 6 months and look in the last 6 months of the decisions that you've had to make, and look at the decision that you made, and look at the outcome. Look where you're presently at, and that'll let you know if you've been making irrational decisions. And like I said, it can sting a little bit because, we all like to think, oh, we know what's best, we know what's right. But so I encourage each and every one of us, take the time out to really see how the decisions that we are making are affecting your everyday living and your future. And if you have children or a significant other, also look how it can affect them. So that was just an aha moment for me, and I hope it really helped someone out there. And I appreciate you guys for watching my videos, and thank you in advance for the support and the subscriptions. All right, talk to you guys later.